guys, welcome to Tea Time London, the original home of sexy tabloid scandal, where the tea is always savagely drinkable. I'm your host, Kachenga, writer and journalist. Hi, good to see you again. Do you want to go?
Well, I'm Elena. I'm a cloakroom attendant.
That's one. And our new friends.
Hi, I'm Dani. I'm a bit of everything, really. Bit this, bit that.
Good to have you both. So yeah, we felt that we wanted to have yet more discussion about the men in our lives.
By that you mean each other.
Stop it. Sausage fest.
Yeah.
No, I was inspired to talk a bit more about the men because they've become so brazen in modern time. So I was on the apps as usual, and yeah, I had like quite affirming experience. It was complicated, but yeah, I was a bridesmaid for my friend's wedding a few weeks ago. And yeah, I was so excited that I was talking about it with one of these guys online. And so he responded in this message, "You're going to make a sexy bridesmaid." And out of nowhere, I received a picture of him in the hospital. Him saying, "Me and my baby." And I said, "Well, how old?" And I said, "Are you still with the baby mother then, or?" But basically, it's weird because I can't. How do I need to like not show his face. Can we? Hold on. If I do that. Yeah,
Not showing his face, but
the baby can't be identified, innit? Exactly. But yeah, you can see. But yeah, it just like goes to show that like
Men are trash.
Yeah.
100.
Literally, they're literally sending pictures of themselves from the maternity ward.
Disgusting, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't end up linking him, but yeah,
Was
let's
it the
talk.
baby or the hospital that picked you up?
Do you know what? I'm not, honestly, I am in two minds about this because, like, early on in my transition, I was like, no, you know, sisterhood, you know, I would never do that to another girl, whatever. And like, the more transphobia I go through, I just don't really feel like that as much. Like, I don't know, I don't feel as much solidarity with sisters about men and shit, like as it goes. But I'm so used to not being prioritised that I feel like if you've got a newborn baby plus baby mother plus your whole life, do you know what I mean, you've basically got 45 minutes a week for me, which really isn't enough, to be honest. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of the men that you guys are talking to on apps and stuff, how many of them would you say percentage wise are in a relationship?
Oh, I mean, it's really hard to gauge because how many of them, it's more so like how many of them are honest about it, you know? I think we've all been in a situation where you've dated somebody or even just like hooked up with somebody and then it comes out later on that, that they are married or in a relationship or whatever, you know? Percentage-wise, I think it's really hard to get, but I don't think that's a trans issue. I think that's a dating apps issue in general. You know, like I've got cis friends that have like caught their friends' boyfriends out on Tinder and stuff like that. I think it's just like a men issue, not
And the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Me. I don't know. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. So I don't know about the ones I've engaged with personally, but yeah, you just can't trust men. That's what I say they are. Like, yeah, I don't know. I can't judge from my own talking to on apps because you can always silence apps and that on your phone anyway. And that so he could be just talking to me, but meanwhile his birds in the next room making dinner, and I wouldn't know, and she wouldn't know either. So you can't trust them. Can't trust
It
them.
also depends on the expectation that you're putting on people as to what you're actually looking for. You know, if you're looking to like properly date someone, obviously it's a lot harder if you find out that they've got somebody else already. If you hook up with someone, you might never know.
I'm finding myself caught up in that a lot. Maybe, and I think it's partly London as well. Like outside of London, I don't think it's as brazen. Actually, no, I tell a lie. No, it is. But like, there's just like the vernacular is different. So, like, I'm not used to. I'm not used to like having to like deduce. So like in London, I find it easier to work out. Like, do you remember I told you about that Colombian dude?
Elephant and castle.
Yeah, that was it.
Like,
When I was, oh no, don't get too much detail. That is supposed. Actually, yeah, will that?
What was
Don't
his name?
expose it. I know.
What's his maiden name? Shoe size. Place of birth.
Pablo. No, it's like, yeah, we'll call him Pablo. Yeah, for the purpose of the story. So basically, yeah, when I was in London, I always find it best to like ask questions when they're comfortable. So yeah, first time I asked him, I was like, yes, you know, how many kids you got? He goes, I ain't got no kids. What do you mean? And I was like, and he was being like bad defensive. So I was like, okay, cool. And then, yeah, we were hooking up, and I think like third, fourth time, must have been like a few weeks later, I was like, you know, we'd, like, yeah, I just orgasmed for the third time. Whatever, he knows about, yeah, job well done. And I'm like, so how many kids have you got? He goes, I don't know, like 4. So, mate, it was the nuance of the I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he was accepting that he doesn't. But where do we stand morally? Because I feel weird at this age, like I go between like, you know, no, I never would. Do you know what I mean? If I find out whatever, and if I'm being completely frank, it's not I don't give a shit, but I just don't feel as much solidarity with girls like, oh yeah, you know, particularly, yeah, just saying, yeah, just particularly with like cisgender women, I just don't feel like I owe them solidarity as much as I used to. But I think that's because of what I've been through recently. I think I'm feeling a bit better. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't electively choose to like go out with a married dude, but if it happens, like, I break it off, but not necessarily out of any sort of like moral standpoint or solidarity with her. Like, yeah, no, I just don't feel that. I used to, and then
I wouldn't do it. My rule of thumb is it's the same kind of thing as like if I find out that my friend's dated somebody that I might be speaking to or whatever. It's like I just don't heat up anybody else's leftovers. Like they don't taste as good when they're heated up. Fuck off. Yeah, like not into it. So if somebody's already in a relationship with somebody else, no, I'm out.
Yeah, no, karmically, like it's just not good.
No, yeah, not even that. Like I just like you automatically put yourself as second place. Yeah, I'm not into that.
Yeah. The same goes if you link a geezer and he leaves the birds for you, right? Then there's 100% chance that he's going to be linking other birds on the side.
The way you get them is the way you lose them.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I wouldn't go out of my way. I live in the moment now. I'm one of them people. But I wouldn't go out of my way to go link a man in a relationship, ideally.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But I live in the moment. Listen, if we link or whatever we shag and he tells me after he's got a girlfriend, I'll be like, that's on your conscience, B.
Yeah, so you don't feel guilty,
If I actively know though, I'm a bit, I live in the moment now, innit? So, bit 50-50, but overall, no, I wouldn't go out of my way. Before
I ever had a romantic relationship, I have to admit that, because I felt so like second class. I always felt that if a guy had a girlfriend and was interested in me, I got a boost from that, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like I'd kind of, you know, mysteriously, like, you know, wangled him away from her, and, you know, it's just because I was that bodacious, that sexy, you know, he just couldn't handle the sexuality rippling off of me. And then once I got into a relationship and certain things happened, I realised that no matter what I did, he was always going to do what he was going to do, innit? Like, I always thought, oh, it's because I'm overweight, or because I don't have enough sex with him, or I don't have these skills, or I'm not good looking enough, or I don't have this surge, or whatever. I thought that it was because of those things that would make men cheat or, you know, whatever, but through that relationship I learned that there's nothing I could do. You know, if someone, yeah, basically, if Beyonce can get cheated on, we all can. So yeah, just talking about the antagonism between cis and trans girls, because there's this meme on Shauna Brooks's Instagram, putting that forth. Yeah, basically saying, I got a man doesn't work on when turning down these guys. I'm just going to start saying, I was a man. And as yeah, even though it could be considered a bit funny, there's just such low-key shade in that, because I think, yeah, it's that Jerry Springer syndrome of... That's a man! That's a man!
Male. The bird says male.
True though, isn't it?
Yeah, but when we're spilling tea to men on Ride in particular, are we finding that we're having such violent reactions to our transness?
Well, I feel like if like cis women are sharing that particular meme, it almost shows like a lack of empathy to the situation that it can get nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose I've been quite lucky in I haven't really had a bad reaction to telling somebody before. But yeah, no, I think it just shows a lack of empathy that it can get nasty, you know. And like, if you're not trans, just saying to somebody like, oh, by the way, I was born a man, just to make them go away.
No way.
No, definitely
you
not.
don't get to jump on our repression. No way, mate. No way.
What I find is that there's an extra titillation, do you know what I mean? Sort of fascination. So if I do tell a man, then like, I'll get like a, oh really? You know?
But how are you telling them? Is it online or is it talking about in person?
So, for example, if I, like my top, like picking up trade moments are when I'm like flying through train stations, because I think my aura at those times, I have like a juice in hand, got my little walkie thing.
Oh, she's for business.
You know, I'm harried, you know, I've got like a bit of a glow and whatever, and like, you know, they're always stopping me, like, you know, yeah, hi, how are you? You right? And so I'm like, I'm not ready for my train, I can't talk, oh my god. And so like, yeah, can I get in over there? Yeah, of course, absolutely, okay, fine. And so, yeah, they'll like message me, and once, I don't like to pussy stunt, because
oh my god,
I don't want to know the two-tier system of treatment. I want to know, I want them to know from the beginning, because
you have to tell people from the jump, because also it's not even a transphobia thing for somebody to not want you because of it. Everyone's entitled to a choice. Everyone's entitled to a preference.
Yeah.
And to take that away from somebody is wrong. You know, like if I met a guy in a club and he and then I got back to his and he pulled down his pants and he had a vagina, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like I would be like, what the fuck? Yeah, I wouldn't be like dive in. Like, but like it's what I mean is like it's a deception. Like, tell me, give me my choice.
But then that's so weird. I can't believe I never thought about this before. If that were to happen to me, I would assume that that trans guy thinks, oh, like, yeah, obviously she knows I'm trans, and so the fact that he didn't tell me, like, for me, it's just like.
But you say that from a trans perspective.
Yeah, yeah. So like, immediately, if he takes his pants down, and yeah, I've got, you know, this wonderful swollen, anyway, like, you know, if I've got that in front of me, I'm like, oh, wicked, but I'm low-key kind of pansexual, I guess, like, even though I don't really get the chance to exercise it that much, because it's like my mind's been conditioned to like give all of my energy and attention and spirit to cisgender men. Like that's who, yeah, cisgender straight men get all of my attention and affection, and so I don't even I don't consider it that much. But if I was to be with a trans guy and he hasn't disclosed to me, I wouldn't think immediately like he's trying to deceive me at all. I would just think like, oh, so he thinks that I knew he was trans, I didn't, and like, so yeah, we're just like popping off, and okay,
but you realise that perspective is so unique to you, coming from a trans experience, of being okay with it, and having a sexuality that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
My point was the deception of it, of you put yourself at risk, you put your safety at risk massively by not telling somebody.
Do you think that's always going to be the case? Don't you think, like, say in 75 years time, when we're in like self-driving cars and whatever, don't you think that like in the future generations may not need to disclose their transness or their cisness because everyone will have thought of that, have thought that through? Like, I feel like sometimes like we are like being perceived as being at the vanguard and is like really novel, when really and truly it just feels like we're coming out of the shadows, like in that before there was always a case of us, you know, living stealth and passing as cis and whatever, and it feels like now like our transness is all out in the open, and in the future, like I don't think it will be, I hope anyway that in the future we won't need to be as fearful of violence coming because of our transness being disclosed.
Yeah, but it's because it's being spoken about in the media though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's more conversation and that. It's like 2014 was the trans tipping point, so they called it, innit? So there's more discussion and that, and people are just a bit more aware. It was like you said about Jerry Springer syndrome and all of that. Like I remember I met this lady, she transitioned in London in the 80s, and that, right, when she used to go to the old GIC at Maudsley Mental Health.
GIC is the Gender Identity Clinic, which is the service for trans and non-binary people provided by the National Health Service.
But yeah, basically she got sent to Maudsley Mental Health Hospital in Camberwell, and that was like a whole. She had a terrible process and that, but with them, basically once you had everything done and that, you did live self and you just lived your life and that. Whereas now it's not even that. That's not an option anymore. But it's just more of a discussion out in the open. Do you know what I mean? And that, so maybe in the future, you never know. Who knows? Innit? It's the future, but. I don't know.
Hiding it though, I feel like not telling somebody also comes from a place of shame on us, of how we are conditioned to be ashamed of it. I'm so inherently proud of it that it's one of the, if I was to meet someone, especially in like a dating situation, it's always one of the first things I say.
Yeah.
Always, because I'm just like, I'm so proud that I didn't wake up like this. Like this was a fucking fight. So it's a pride thing for me also.
Yeah, I hear that.
Definitely.
I think it's funny because as you were speaking, I was remembering, like 2015, like late 2015, I was cycling through Vauxhall.
Bad things have happened.
Coming out of the arches. No. So, I was coming out of the chicken shop.
That old story. She came for the chicken on Friday and on Tuesday.
We've all been there.
Literally, it is.
Blacking your eyebrows with your teeth.
6 wings, isn't it? No, so I was wearing a little, like, just this little onesie. I was feeling my fish. This was early days. Like, I was just feeling myself, do you know what I mean? Like, feeling all smooth and shit. And I didn't even have a bra on. Whatever. But yeah, so I, like, came out of a chicken shop. And this dude, this black dude who was working at Sainsbury's, came out and was like, yo, and I was feeling so flush. I was like, oh, yeah, hi, you know, just eating my chips. You know what I mean?
Let's go real high.
Literally, it's like, yeah, eating my fries. Sorry, American audience. So just like eating our fries, and he's like talking to me and stuff. He's like, yeah, you look good, you know, whatever. can I get your number? Yeah, fine. So gave it to him, and over the next week, we were just texting back and forth, and we were talking about writing, and I was saying, you know, I'm a writer. He's like, oh, okay, cool, I write erotic stories and erotic fan fiction and stuff, and I was like, okay, great, that's cool. And he said that he wanted to, no, I suggested going to the cinema. And so he was like, okay, cool, yeah, let me come see you on Saturday night. It's like, fine. And so the Saturday morning, I got a call from him saying, I need to talk to you. And so I said, okay, cool. And so I spoke to him, and he said that he was with his male friends, and they would like, I think it's after football or something, and then they said to him, oh, are you going to go out tomorrow night? And then he said, oh no, I can't. Oh no, I'm gonna go see this ting, innit? So, and yeah, to explain, so American audience, the objectification of women in London is so bad that men are starting to refer to women as tings. Like, we are just a thing, a ting to see. Anyway, so he said, yeah, no, I'm gonna go see this ting, innit? And so apparently his friends go, oh, what's her name? And so he goes, oh, Kachenga. And so apparently his friend goes, hold on, wait, is that transsexual? And so, and then he was like, no. And then his friends go, oh yeah, no, what's she like? He goes, oh yeah, no, she's dark skinned. And they say, whatever. And he's like, no, I swear that's her, whatever. And I'm like, being really generous to myself, thinking I said her, do you know what I mean? Like, as it goes. As it goes. Anyway, so yeah, he called me up on Saturday morning saying, yeah, is it true? And I was like, yeah, I genuinely thought he knew. The way that my dysphoria was set up, where I was at in my transition, whatever, I genuinely was, I just felt every man that spoke to me knew. That was just what I felt. So the fact that he didn't was like such an endorsement to my transition. I can't lie, I really did like that I now had to start telling men, you know what I mean? Like, so, but at the same time I didn't like it because from him when it sent me out to the cinema, he was like, oh shit, no, I can't believe it, so what? And he started asking me like all these like basic questions, like really cheap ones, like, you know. Yeah, exactly. So what, like, so what, like, got ballsack, like a whole ballsack. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yes, yeah, exactly. And then he goes, oh, you still think you could be a good fuck though. And then I was like, okay, great. True. And then, either way, I locked it off because from being a potential girlfriend, I was now reduced to a sexual object, like just a sex doll. That was all he would see me as. He just wanted to come.
It could be like a switch,
yeah. So that's because that's why from that experience onwards, I was like, okay, let me let them know within. No, I won't spill my tea if I'm passing on the street and then. And I've given my number, I'm not telling you then. But in the first or second text, I'll say, you do know I'm TS, you do know I'm transsexual, innit? Because I don't want to know what kind of cisgender sliding doors existence I could live if it were. I don't want that in my head. I don't want that in my psyche, thinking, oh, if I was cis, he would take me here and he would do this to me. That's not good for me to know. So, yeah, I tell them based on that. But I also find it really effed up that cisgender girls don't pay attention to their own cisgender privilege. I think they've got no idea what it's like to not have to deal with the thought of trans violence coming into your life just through disclosing who you are. And also the immediate deprioritization, do you know what I mean? You are no longer a potential vessel for my child, therefore you deserve a lot less respect. I'm not going to court you in the same way. I don't need to treat you with any sort of, so you are just a sexual being.
Because the geezers are very angry that they're attracted to the girls, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a lot of them, they get angry, you know, they get upset and that, because it boggles their minds. Boggles their mind, but...
the hard part in it is when people feel like they've been deceived.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it took a really long time to kind of wrap my mind around that perception of it, because I was never trying to trick you into thinking I was something I wasn't. I was literally just being myself. So then it's like, and it's like, how much do I owe people that I don't even know?
Yeah, but how self-centered and selfish is their thinking? What, we're out here just to deceive you, one man, one fucking man, right? I'm here to deceive just you. My whole purpose in life is to deceive you. Please, fix up. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm out here living my life, you're living your life, you're living your life. It's like, there ain't no deception for no one at the end of the day. But I do think that in terms of disclosure in that, I think you should disclose in an ideal world and that. But I've been in situations where I haven't disclosed. I know it's stupid of me to do so, but at the end of the day, I just think, why do I owe you my business? Why do I owe you my business?
Is there a part of you that finds it thrilling?
Some part, yeah. Some part, yeah.
Which part?
Lady Gape over here. Do you know what
That's me. Yeah, no, but I do think, because the thing is, it's my story. It's my story, it's my narrative, it's my book at the end of the day. So, it's true, innit? Why the fuck should you know? It's straight off the bat, because it's like you said, and that because the priority gets taken away. Like, and then it's just literally questions about your body and questions about sex. It's like, for fuck's sake, so
It's so boring.
boring.
It's so boring. Yeah.
Literally.
And it's hard because which side you end up then going for, because you're left with a choice of trying to meet what you'd call like cis men that you could meet on, say, like Tinder or out and about, and then having that awful revealing conversation where you're then left feeling exposed, because as soon as you tell someone you're trans, their mind automatically goes, okay, what type of trans is it?
Defo,
like,
defo.
is this like full whack? Like,
have you got boobs?
Yeah,
Have you got
and then it automatically goes to like a physicalness, and then therefore turns sexual with that with those men. Or do you go for trans attractive men? Because I'd see, and that's your favorite. As your
I would choose a chaser any time. I know
Me
exactly
too.
what I'm getting. Absolutely.
No way.
Yeah, I do.
It
I also do not have time for toothy blowjobs. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. I don't scraping away down there. No. No, you get out there and practice, my lad. Do you know what I mean? No, definitely.
No,
with a chaser, you know exactly what's going on. You know, he knows. He's also, I'm not as fearful of a violent reaction. You know, like he has spent time, you know, thinking about things whilst he's masturbating. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, no, I would do that. Yeah, no, that is fine. Yeah, you know, and I feel like there's some sort of, there's an ease that comes with a chaser that you don't have with men who haven't thought about, having
chasers' behaviours are fucking disgusting.
Well, yeah, there are, but it holds absolutely no bearing to me. If a man has been with trans girls before, I do not care, because in my opinion, it's like, well, if I was like born female, if I was cis, would I expect the man that I'm dating to be a virgin? No, I wouldn't. Like, it does not bother me. If you've had a trans girlfriend before, or you've just been to bloody Way Out Club and pulled one, you know, like, it does not bother me. For me, it all comes down to the actual person, their attributes. Am I attracted to them? Are they funny? All of these things. And then the fact that they've been with trans women, I do not care, as long as they're not, as long as they haven't been with one of my friends.
No.
And then I'm like, no, that's not okay.
I'm not sorry. The past few weeks have been very revealing, basically.
It's like crossover.
We have.
The worst.
Literally. Well, we need to have a different code name.
Defo.
What's the code name? Ricardo.
Cardo.
Yeah,
Cardo, mate.
I think
Cardo.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's crossover, that's when I hit the door.
Well, absolutely.
And I ask, I'll show pictures and ask, like, I will show I've got like 5. I will show 5 people. If you know any of these people, have a nice life.
Yeah. No, definitely. You can't. As like trans girls and well, as girls in general, people in general, right? Even when I was mates with Ruby years ago, yeah, we always had that rule. You never share the same geezers, or you both got an eye on the geezer. You both don't go for it. Do you know what I mean? But even more so, like when you dilute it, yeah, and it's like the trans girls and that, like especially like all the bitches and that, like. You can't be sharing men. Jesus Christ, no. There's boundaries.
I do find it entertaining when I see young trans girls in London dating men that I dated years ago, and then walking around like a dog on a lead. I'm like, oh, is that your boyfriend? It is. Oh, I wonder what he's like. Is he nice? Oh, a nice man you got. Oh,
5-inch film.
Yeah.
It's like what you're saying, like the young girls and that who were dating geezers that you would have seen like when you were younger. Don't you think it's funny how the more you feminise with your medication and your confidence and that comes, you do get different types of geezers approaching you at different times of your transition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Defo.
Yeah, definitely.
But that also, certain trans attractive men don't give a fuck which level you're at.
No, defo not like all levels of ego.
In their mind, me and Barry dressed up as Barbara, same thing.
Yeah,
same thing, whatever.
Yeah, because they're more focused on your functionality.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Defo.
Yeah, fully functional.
Well, I think
fully functional, always and forever, mate.
But I was going to bring up because I think the reason you made a face when we first talked about chasers is because I think you find it when you've got a geezer who hasn't been with many. I think that he like endorses your fish. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, if
it's validation.
Yeah. And you know, I'm like, because you have a round the way girl thing about you. No, what am I trying to say?
Say it as you see it, man. Say it as you see it.
You're a South London slag.
Not a regular slag.
Was it just a bit of a slag?
Literally.
Slag.
No, you know what I mean though. Do you know what I mean? Like you are that girl.
Good time girl.
Yeah, exactly. From around the way. So yeah, you wouldn't necessarily want a chase like that because you want like a guy who's, you know, there in his joggers and, you know, because I think I used to, but now I don't find I get as much validation from that because I don't know, I just feel like my look is my own. I feel
it can have a knock on your confidence though to see that they really don't have a type. Literally trans is their type. Like I would like it if a guy was like, okay, so I really like tall, slim, blondes that have got big fucking mouths, you know, like confident. Like if that was his type, okay, yeah, that's me. But not just like trans. That's my type. Trans. Like, it has a knock-on effect on you.
I hear that. But at the same time, I feel like I'm seeing so much more on the dating apps. Men whose sexuality is femme focused.
Yeah.
So they will say, I'm into TS, TV, femboy. That is. So you're going from
the Sony
smooth, twinky, exactly, smooth, twinky gay boy, taking in TV, cross-dresser, etc. And at the other end of the spectrum are your transsexual women who either or fully surged and cis women. So they're taking in that full 50% of the spectrum left of
anything with lip gloss.
Anything with lip gloss.
Yes, Dani.
Make sure it's Fenty.
Anything with lip gloss.
Definitely.
Defo.
My gosh.
No, but it's like I've had some gigs like on Grindr, Now bear in mind, I only use that to look at trannies and laugh, and when I'm bored.
You are shocking.
I'm disgusting.
You are disgusting.
Right, but some geezers
Community.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
I'm disgusted.
It
But
is.
it's like some geezers will approach me and then it's like looking for TS/TV/fem and I send them a voice note.
Yeah.
I don't even type. I'm like, you cunts want it, I'm gonna fucking give it, right? And I let them know. I go, why are you approaching me if you're looking for a smooth bottom boy?
Because I'm not smooth bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Not bitch. Literally. Forest. You know what I mean? No, but it's like it's insulting because it's like, right, with the type, look, not the title of transsexual, and that there does come like what in people's minds comes a certain like narrative and like a story that comes with it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're out here and that looking for their thing, but then you're approaching me, how fucking insulting.
I've got to be real. I've got to be, and I say that even though that is the case with some, I think that we are sensitive to that. I think that we are, we like to put ourselves into a nice, neat, boundary, transsexual camp.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, that we've taken our hormones, we're getting our tits done, whatever, and like, downstairs is neither here nor there, do you know what I mean? It's that for whatever goes on. But in terms of who we allow into our TS club, you need to be taking it seriously. Do you know what I mean? That's the way we are.
Commit.
Yes.
And you've got to have thick skin. You've got to have thick skin if you're going to live this transsexual life because people are going to throw shit at you all day, every day. So yes, very selective.
Yeah, but
very
you know, I felt that when in our reaction to Peppermint on RuPaul's Drag Race, do you know what I mean? Because obviously she was quite. She's not early on the drag scene at all, but in terms of her medical transition, she was particularly early on. And I've got to be, obviously I'm unpacking and I'm not fixed in my judgment, but at the time I felt an emotional reaction because I was like, babes, you're out here representing us.
Exactly.
And
not in the best way, I don't feel.
No.
I don't feel like she did it in the best way.
Not on that season of RuPaul, not since. And because she shared a lot more of herself, but because she was so cagey about revealing her transness and also went out there so early, unfortunately, people were able to masculinize her to such an extent that, it was seen as, oh, okay, so that's what trans is. And I think for us, we feel much more comfortable people defining us as transsexual women at a certain point. Do you know what I mean? So like, I was very cautious about putting myself out publicly until I got certain things done and I felt comfortable in myself. You know, and my dysphoria, particularly around my face, like when I'd had certain things done, I felt, okay, cool, now I can be in that magazine or now I can share those selfies or whatever. But before then I was very cagey about representing transsexual women publicly because I didn't want people to take me at my earliest as a sign of what we were in general, because they're gonna masculinize us anyway. And from a respectability standpoint, which is not necessarily healthy, I feel like, no, I'm only gonna represent my community when I've got to a certain level.
I see your point. I mean, in hindsight, I wish that I'd done things differently in the way that I exposed myself really early on.
Talk about that. How did you?
Well, I mean, I transitioned really young. I started transitioning when I was 17, so that's 10 years ago. But when I first moved to London, which is 6 years ago, I lived in Spain for a couple of years, and I got into the beauty pageant circuits.
Wow.
And then when I came to London, this beauty pageant got in touch with me and asked me to go in for it, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then the organizer of it was like, oh, there's a magazine that want to do a piece on you, the whole like trans thing, and I was just like, yeah, sure, okay. Keep in mind, 6 years ago was before I'd been on hormones for about a year and a half, about 2 years, but I hadn't had any work done yet. And now, and it wasn't just one magazine, it got syndicated, and it was like News of the World, Daily Mail, Sun, Metro, all of them picked up this story of like beauty pageant queen born a boy, and like the headlines were like glam Dan born a man and things like that, like full on. And now, later in my life, if you Google my name, my recent work comes up where it's like show studio and these projects that I've done and really fun stuff. But you don't have to scroll down very far on the page to see glam Dan born a man and pictures of me at the age of like 21 being like, oh, of course I'm like fully woman, and I wasn't. Like I look clocky, I really look clocky, and like if I was like a full clock box, but no, I was like, and now like I'm glad that I've done a lot of like media-y stuff since where you can see, but like. There are videos on YouTube, and I don't want to say like fan videos, but like kind of like newsy videos. Yeah. And it's like me, age 21, just like not looking how I would like to be perceived now. All these years, and I wish I had the sense at that time to be like, this, you're not going to want this out there forever. Like don't, and it was just exciting at the time to just be recognised, like this one, this beauty queen, born a boy, and like, all of that, like it was exciting. But now, my God, every time, like the guy that I'm dating at the minute, he was like, oh, I Googled you, I saw what you looked like when you were in school. Because there's pictures of me now as a boy on Google, because at the time of all these articles, they were researching me and they pulled my school photos of me like 15, that obviously as a full boy, and you can see that just by Googling my name. And this guy that I'm dating, he was like, oh, I saw your school pictures on Google. I was like, fuck, like there's no mystery in it now, like you've seen it all, it's all out there, it's all laid bare. And it's so overwhelming to me now as like a fully formed adult to have that representation of myself out there that I don't really want.
Definitely.
Yeah. There are pros and cons depending on how you transition and when, isn't it? Because I was a lot more controlled, it means that I've been able to kind of handle my internet profile in particular a bit better, like, because I was when my ex looked me up last year, what came up was really mostly my articles and stuff, so it kind of led with that. So I was like, oh, so I googled you and stuff, and I was like, okay, what did you find? What did you think? He just goes, well, can tell you're a feminist, and I'm really grateful for that, although I had so many decades of traumatic dysphoria and just such intense self-destruction because I had that time. And it's interesting listening to you because I obviously don't have comparisonitis, but I think, oh gosh, what would I have done if I had taken that leap? And
I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of good that came out of that situation because it reached so many people. Like it was syndicated around the world. This story, like it was in like China and Brazil and all these places, and I had people reaching out to me to being like, "Thank you so much. Like you opened my eyes. Like I really want to take this next step." And people asking my advice and valuing it, and how we should. And it was an amazing experience. But, oh my God, if I could take those awful pictures off the internet. Oh, me in Holland Park, like, in this crappy, like, rainbow dress that they got in Camden Market. And they're like, fully female. Had these huge chicken fillets shoved into a sports car underneath. And they're like, woman. That was a read. No, it's how I looked you in the eye.
Scathing! This is probably a good point for me to talk about the next point that I wanted to talk about. Jealousy amongst trans girls, isn't it? Like, because
messy bitches.
We have a hierarchy of possibility within our community, do you know what I mean? And I've never met anyone more transphobic
than trans women.
We are fucking savage towards each other.
Yeah.
If you hear the way we talk off camera.
Evil. I'm here for it.
But like, tell me, because I remember when you were speaking about your early days and how nasty a lot of the trans women online were to you.
They were nasty bitches.
I remember how
online and in Soho, and I think like, sorry, like you were me at one point, darling. I thought, don't chat shit. That's why I like you, Dani, because you gave me a chance. You gave me a chance when I first met you in Soho, and that, yeah, and I have big respect.
How did you guys meet?
Outside Chateau Lounge.
So I remember the way we met really, really well, actually. So I was a nightclub manager for years. I ran clubs all around London, and I ran the Shadow Lounge, which is like it was a gay members club, but it was like
elite.
Yeah, synonymous with like gay celebrities and things like that. Like it was like the glitterati club. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I would spend most of my evening up on the door, kind of like vetting people and saying hello to people and that sort of thing. And I was out there just when I still smoked. I was out having a cigarette, and I saw Elena stood in the doorway of the adjacent bar, and she was holding these heels that had been battered. She was holding these. I walked for a mile I was 19. Yeah,
I was 19.
You were a baby, and I saw her, and I saw the people around her reacting to her being there. And I was stood watching, having a cigarette, just thinking, God, that poor kid, because she stood there holding it, and I could hear her, and she was angry. She was an angry person. I could just see she was seething. She was holding his heel and she's like, I fucking walked from Canary Wharf in these fucking heels.
It's me down, isn't it?
I fucking walked.
Yeah.
And I just thought like, I've got to help this kid. And I went over and I was like, hello darling, you okay? And she's like, no, I'm not fucking and I said, right, okay, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
I said, let me get you a drink, come inside, and let's just talk.
Yeah.
And this before you'd had laser or anything.
everything.
And we sat on the sinks of the women's bathrooms in the club, and I got you a drink, and we sat talking. And my heart just poured for you. I was just so captivated by you, because you were just like, you had no idea what you were going to do or where you were going to go, and you were just struggling. I was just like, I just wanted to be like, oh, let me help you.
I was the only one in South.
Yeah.
Literally, I was known as a Deptford tranny for donkey's years from when I started presenting like Femme and all of that. And it's so funny looking back. Like I was known as a Deptford tranny. Like, do you know what I mean? People know me. Even to this day, people know me before I know them. Like, it's mental.
So yeah, you were the Deptford tranny.
Yeah, I was known as a Deptford tranny for years. Like, it's funny because when you're the only one, people notice that. People notice that. And like, even like then and even now, people know me before I know them, and it's quite worrying. It is quite scary. And but I remember one time I was in Sainsbury's at New Cross Gate, and one of the birds said to me, I hadn't been down New Cross. I hadn't lived there for about a year at the time. It was the first time I popped down in a few weeks. And the bird said to me, she was like, oh my God, she goes, you look amazing now. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, listen, she goes, girl, she goes, I've been watching you transition for years. It was for donkey's years I've been watching you. She goes, you look really well. And it was really nice and affirming. But it just goes to show, it was like, wow. And when you stick out like a sore thumb, everyone knows. Do you know what I mean? People know me before I know them. And it's really worrying. But, yeah, man.
Oh, you were just so unsure of yourself those years ago, and now look at you. Like, it makes me so proud when I see you now.
Thank you, Bebe.
Oh my God, it really does. Feels really proud to see you now.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny because when you guys talk about how you met and stuff, I'm just hit with your compassion and how unusual it is to hear of a trans girl supporting another trans girl in that way, because you're further along.
I was grateful anyway. Like, I have never had the ego of not believing that putting somebody else's flame out makes mine brighter. I will always lift people up, because I'm like, there's room for us. There's room for, like, and if I see someone struggling with anything, I'm like, come in, like, stay with me, like, I'll help you, or whatever the person needs, I'll always do it. Because I think that we should just be lifting each other up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's something that I've only really discovered since transition to be, my medical transition. Because before, like, where I was at was, I don't know, it was just this like gendered hybrid of a person, you know, and like, it was just so lonely but I would get harassed and assaulted for being that because of my perceived androgyny at the time. Like, men would take advantage, but I never felt comfortable to speak about that from a feminist perspective or a femme perspective, or, you know, I just felt like I was this abject person out in the wilderness. And, like, in transition, I felt sisterhood with trans and cis girls, so that when things are happening, I know that I can reach out to another woman or be there for another woman in a way that I wasn't able to be there for women before, and also have that support for me. So, like, when I was living in Battersea one time, I came out of my front door to walk the dog, and this was around like 1, 2 in the morning. And there was this Asian lady walking past, and there was this dude who was hounding her, just like, he was drunk, and she was like just really diminutive and petite, and like she was visibly scared. And so me and dog, like, I ran up to her and I go, like, what are you doing to my friend? And I like just put my arm through hers, and like we just walked arm in arm to the bus stop. And oh yeah, it was just so, I loved being it was an immediate, like, reflect, like, I didn't even think about it, do you know what I mean? It was almost like it was a reflex. And I just went into that mode of immediately being with another woman, like trying to get her out of this dangerous situation. But afterwards, like, she was okay, but I could see she didn't want to make a big deal out of it. She was like happy that I'd done that, but she didn't want it to go any further once we'd got out of danger. She just wanted to put the experience out of her mind. And I really did understand that. Oh, it's like, yeah, no, you don't want to call the police. You just want this. You're just very glad that it's over and you want to get home and have me be the stranger that helped, and that's fine. But like, I think the reason I get overwhelmed emotion talking about it is because I've never had that, and I've definitely had those experiences when.
Did you never kind of have like a mother trans figure? Like
apart from online, no.
Really?
To be honest, like, apart from like Ashley and Fox Giselle and Melinda, I would watch them as I would watch them. They were my mothers in bringing me forth. But yeah, no, I never had anyone around. I had friends, but I didn't have a mother. I had peers, but like, and I don't necessarily think I didn't reject anyone or anything. It just didn't happen. And I maybe was rather judgmental because those girls who were around who potentially could have held that role, I didn't want their lives. To be honest, I didn't like the lives that they were living, whether that was me, the stigma around sex work or class, or the fact that they weren't. There was something really tragic and destructive about their life that I was just like, I don't want that. I was only able to transition when I could see the life for myself being stimulated. Like, just I knew that I wanted to live in a safe area, and I wanted to, you know, have a career as well. Like, not that I've always seen sex workers work and stuff, but I never wanted it to be the be-all and end-all of my life. I wanted to use that as a leap into having another career.
I'm from Cardiff, and I had these 2 old trans women in my life from when I was 16, Nadine and Ella. And Ella owned a hair salon, and Nadine was a hooker.
Yeah.
And they were surged up. They were Nadine was post-op, Ella was pre-op, and Ella was in her mid-60s when I met her. Nadine was pushing 60. And they and I feel like my compassion to younger trans women now, or not even younger, just like early on trans women, my compassion is a direct stem from the way they treated me. It was like, come with me, I will help you. What do you need? Like, do you need do you need old chicken fillets of mine to put in your bra? Do you need? Are you on hormones? Do you want to go on hormones? I can help you find hormones. You know, it was this mothering, and it's kind of like a pay it forward thing.
Yeah,
I feel.
definitely.
Like, because now when I look at Elena, I can see Elena now speaking to young trans girls, because I was with her. I was like, oh my god, I will do anything to help you.
That's
and
why
now
you're mother.
Elena always calls me mother. And I see Elena now going, it is pay it forward thing.
Yeah.
And trans women are so inherently competitive with each other.
Yeah.
And just want to tear each other down. Like, so if there's that good energy of like uplift amongst us, then it can only do good. Just keep going.
Because you're right. I've not had that with you in our friendship. Do you know what I mean? It's been really, it's been really peculiar actually. In fact, we don't have that. But I don't know, when we went up for my birthday last year to Sweet Wednesdays.
I was amazing.
But you know, it was really cool because we have such different energies publicly and
But we're
stuff.
sisters.
But we are sisters, and like, it was really supportive. And I've never been out with another girl where we've not been resentful of the sexual attention. Because that night was your night, do you know what I mean? You were getting it, mate. Do you know exactly?
I will fucking
in your fire high boots.
Yeah, like, running boots.
Literally, the fur collar. Literally, boo.
We need to be cheerleaders for each other.
We do. We do.
It makes me so, when I see another trans woman achieving something, whether that be like media notoriety or success in their professional life, whatever, I'm like, fucking yes, good for you, because there's so much room at the top.
Yeah, there really is.
So much room at the top. Like there's not a limited amount of success for any of us. So if we're all achieving well, it means we're all putting out the right image.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we all need to be able to afford brunch. And we... Yeah, definitely. But I think I've learned a lot about that from you. You've taught me that a lot. And I think throughout our friendship, I've become really aware of us all having our own lanes.
Yeah, you have
Do you know what I mean? Like,
right? But you water your plant, you water your plants, but you water each other's plants as well. And then you stick in your lanes, but you know, you're all going to the same destination at the end.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Really fortifying. You know, there'll never be another Dani St. James. There'll never be another Kachenga. There'll never be another Elena. Do you know what I mean? We are all on it.
I hope there's never another Dani St. James.
Oh, for fuck.
Oh my god, I've done enough evil in this. I've done enough evil. Do not pass that on.
But as we've reached this positive note, I think we should probably wrap things up and stuff. Are there any final goodbyes that you'd like to say to our audience?
Listen, I'm one of the most transphobic people going, but in the grand scheme of things, it is all about the solidarity at the end, because there is a very us and them situation. Do you know what I mean?
There's enough people in this world trying to tear us down.
Yeah, defo.
We need to do it to each other.
Yeah, defo.
Unless you're a cunt, in which case I hope you fail.
Defo.
Put that on a t-shirt. Anyway, lovelies, thank you so much for stopping by. Follow us on Instagram. Let's put out our handles.
Discreet Packaging 94.
What's your Instagram handle?
Everything's just Dani St. James, D-A-N-I St. James, like the park, and just as easy to get into.
Yes! And I'm at Kachenga, Kuchenga. We'll see you in a bit. Take care. Bye, darlings.